Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ifoma. So today we're going to be making a button down shirt. Okay, this is the shirt. As you can see, this is what the finished look looks like. So if you are interested in this, kindly watch till the end. So to begin, these are all the required measurements you'll be needing to make this shirt. You'll be needing your shoulder measurement, your bust, your waist, your hip circumference, of course, your length of the shirt, the sleeve, and the round sleeve. Okay, and for the shoulder, I'll be dividing the shoulder by 2. All right, you'll be dividing your bust circumference by 4 as usual, your waist by 4, your hip by 4. All right, so now I'm going to be using this piece of pattern paper so we better understand this pattern. But note that everything we are doing is what you are going to do if you are cutting on your actual fabric, except you'll be folding your fabric in 2. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all cut out all the pattern that we need. I'll cut out the pattern, the complete pattern that we need, the front and the back. Then we are going to go ahead and start cutting out the actual shirt. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do from this line here, I'm going to take the length of the shirt. All right, the length of the shirt, which is 27 inches. I'm going to take 27 inches here. I'll mark 27 inches. I'll do the exact same thing here, and I'll also mark 27 inches. Okay, so now from the center, this is the center, the first measurement I'm going to mark is 2 inches for the placket fold. Okay, these 2 inches will be for the placket. You can use 1.5, you can use 3 inches depending on how wide or how tiny you want your placket to be. Remember that the placket is where the button and the buttonhole is going to be, right? So I'm going to take from the center, this is the front, from the center here, 2 inches for the placket. All right, then I'm going to take half of an inch for the placket overlap. Okay, half of an inch for the placket overlap from that 2 inches, which is going to make it total of 2.5 inches. Okay, then from that 2.5 inches here, you're going to take your bust measurement or your hip measurement, depending on the larger measurement you have, which in most cases is always the hip measurement. So you're going to take your hip measurement divided by 4. All right, I hope you understand it. So for this paper, we are not going to be adding our sewing allowance. So we are going to just put the exact hip divided by 4, which is 11.25 in my case. Okay, I'm going to mark it here. All right, I'm going to take this again. This is 2 inches for my placket, and then we are going to add half of an inch for the placket overlap, because no one placket is going to be on top the other, and if you do not add this half an inch, you are going to notice after the whole project that the front, after lapping the placket, is not going to be equal with the back. Okay, so you have to add this half of an inch for the placket overlap, and then you're going to take from this place, this half of an inch, you're going to take your hip circumference divided by 4. That is if your hip is the larger part. But if you're working with someone that the bust is the larger part, then just use the bust divided by 4. Okay, so now that we've gotten this, I'm going to go ahead and connect. So we cut this out and also cut out the pattern for the back. So for the back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the length of my shirt as well, which is 27 inches, as you already know. Then I'm going to add 4 inches to it. Okay, so the back is going to be longer than the front. So you're going to see why when we start working on this project. So now I'm going to add extra 4 inches to the original length of this shirt. Okay, now what you're going to do is now divide your hip measurement by 4, and just the other same thing we did for the front, and I'm just going to connect and cut everything out. Okay, note that this back will be folded into 2, and you're not going to add anything because of course you know the back is one piece. The back do not have plackets and so just make sure you just fold your fabric into 2, add this extra 4 inches. If you are making a good shirt, add this extra 4 inches and then cut out. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. So to continue, this is the front, remember. So I'm going to fold in the 2 inches that we took out, leaving the 0.5 inches for the button overlap that we added. Okay, I'm going to take out the 2 inches and fold it away like this, because after all it's going to be folded when we start working on it. Okay, so we're going to take out 2 inches, fold it away like this, and then we are going to bring in the back. Then we are going to place the front on top of the back like this. Okay, so look closely at this part. When you are placing the back, make sure that it starts under the 5 inches gap that we left at the front for the button overlap. Okay, so I'm going to place the back like this, making sure that it starts in that 5 inches that we left in the button for the button overlap like this. Okay, so we are making it equal. We are going to make it equal on the shoulder here. Right, we are going to make it equal. So let me go ahead and pin it down. Alright, so I went ahead to pin it down, and this is what I have. Right, so what I'm going to do now is to work on the neck. Alright, I'm going to start working on the neck, and then the depth I'm going to be using is 2.5 inches for the front. Okay, 2.5 inches for the front. That is the depth I'm going to be using, and the width I'm going to be using, which I'm going to be taking from the back, the center back. Remember that the center back is the center. Okay, the center back I'm going to be taking from the center back, and I'm going to be using 2 inches. Okay, note that it's better you have a shorter neckline. Like, it's better that after sewing you take the measurement of your neckline and find out that it's not up to the measurement you need, then you're going to trim away, than after joining the shoulder you're going to find that the neck is too wide. Okay, so make use of 2.5 by 2 inches first, so that at the end of the day, if it's not enough, you can expand the neck even more by cutting through it. Okay, you can cut off the neck and expand it even more. All right, I hope you understand this. So I'm going to join now. Now note that the measurement I'm taking now is for the front. Okay, this depth is the depth of the front, and the width is the width of the both of them. Okay, so I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. Okay, divide it by 2. So I'm taking it from the center back as well. Remember that this is where the center back started, so I'm going to take it from the center back, divide my shoulder measurement into 2, and I'm going to add 0.5 to it. So my shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to be using 8 inches. I'm going to add 0.5 to it. Okay, so on that part I'm going to come down by 1.2. Okay, 1.25. You can come down by 2 inches, you can come down by 1.5, depending on who you're making the shirt for. But I'm making this shirt for a female, so I said to come down by 1.2. all right, so when I did this, I'm going to connect like this. So now we are going to go ahead and cut off this shoulder, the shoulder slope. So after cutting off the shoulder slope, I'm going to draw this front back just to equalize it at the down. Remember, we added 4 inches to this back. We said that the back is going to be longer than the front by 4 inches, right? So I'm going to make it equal at the down part, so that 4 inches we are going to like bring it up to the upper part. All right, I hope you understand this. Make sure that you still set this to make sure that the front is still wider than the back by the 0.5 inches we added for the button overlap. Okay, so I'm still going to pin it down so we can start working on the rest of the body. Okay, we are going to fold in this top, this back part. We are going to fold it in like this, lapping it on top of the front. Okay, like this. Can you see? With 0.5 inches. All right, so this is what we have. So I'm going to trace this up again, trace this, the width of the neck up again like this. Okay, all right, so now this is what we have. Okay, So I'm going to take the half of my back measurement, of my shoulder measurement again, starting from here. I'm going to take it like this, which is 8 inches. Then from there, we are going to take our armhole. Our armhole measurement. So for this, I'm going to be using 8.5 inches. I'm going to be using 8.5 inches. Then I'm going to draw a straight line on that part. This is our bust line. Now we are going to be placing our bust measurement on this line here. So now that we have taken the shoulder measurement, remember we took the shoulder measurement from here to here. Now from here, I'm going to take the armhole measurement, okay? All right, so this is the armhole. I'm using 8.5 for this case. And then on that point is the bust line. All right, so I'm going to connect this armhole depth. This is our armhole depth. All right, so this is our armhole depth. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to divide this point. This is our armhole depth line. We are going to divide it by 2, just so we get the armhole curve. Okay, at the midpoint we are going to go in by 1/2 inch. All right, so now after getting this point, we are going to go ahead to divide our bust measurement by 4. Remember, all the measurements you are taking, you're going to be taking from the center back. Okay, so our bust measurement divided by 4, we are going to place it here. We are going to place it here, and then we are going to connect this point, and this point with our curve. All right, so this is what we have for the shoulder curve. Okay, for the armhole curve. Now we are going to impute the rest of our body measurements. Okay, whatever measurements you are taking, make sure you are taking it from the tip of the neck here, which is at the back part, not the front. Okay, from here, this is where you'll be taking all your measurements. So now I'm going to take the waist measurement, the shoulder to waist. We don't really need it. We just want to make sure that that is where the waistline is. Then we take our waist circumference. Okay, so our shoulder to waist, we are going to take, which is the half length. Then on that line, we are going to go ahead and take our waist measurement divided by 4. Okay, whatever measurement you are taking, as I said, should start from the mid back, not this place. It should start from the center back. Okay, so our waist divided by 4 is what we are going to impute here. Remember, we have not added any stitching allowance. Okay, so on the full length, we are going to divide our hip by 4 as well. Our hip measurement by 4. That is what we have here. All right, so having gotten this, we are going to go ahead now and connect all these dots. Okay, so this is what we have. Let me trace this out using our marker. Okay, so this is what we have. Now the next thing I want to do is to curve this a little bit. We are going to curve this up a little bit, you know, the curve that shirt normally have. So from the full length, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches. Now this depends on how curvy you want yours to be. You can still make it straight if that is what you want, but the style I'm making has a little bit of curve. So I'm going to go up by 1.5, and then from there, from this midpoint here, I'm going to curve it to meet the 1.5 inches I went up by. Okay, so this is what I have. All right, so having gotten this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out. Okay, I'm going to cut out all these parts, and remember, we have not added our stitching allowance. When we are cutting on our actual fabric, we are going to go ahead and add our stitching allowance. So for the neckline, I'm going to go ahead and cut out this front the way we mark it. Just the front now, if you look close, you are going to find out that I'm cutting just the front. Okay, now this is what we have. So I'm going to follow this exact line to cut the back. Okay, I'm going to follow this exact line we have here. Right, so this is what we have. So for this back now, I'm just going to go down by half of an inch from the tip of the back. I'm just going to go down by half of an inch like this, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out. Okay, all right, so this is what I have. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. Okay, so when you place it together now, all right, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so at this point we are through with cutting. Also note that we have not added our stitching allowance, and also the measurements we use is the actual measurement of this client. So when we are cutting out on our actual fabric, we are going to add some extra inches for the freeness. Remember, this is a shirt, and shirt is supposed to be free, right? So we are going to add extra allowance for each. It can be 1 inch, it can be 1.5 inches, depending on how free you want it to be. Then after that, we are still going to add our stitching allowance. Okay, so this is what we have. We are going to go ahead now and cut out on our actual fabric. So to start cutting out on our actual fabric, like I said, I'm going to be adding 2 inches on the shaping sides, 1 inch for the freeness of the shirt, and the other 1 inch for the sewing. Okay, and on the shoulder I'll be adding 0.5 inches on the neckline as well. Then on the down part, 0.5 inches for the folding. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this exact same thing for the front as well. And of course, my fabric is placed on fold. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the facing for the back. This facing is optional. If you want yours to have a facing, you must not add a facing for your own back. But if you're making a packet shirt, this facing is really mandatory. Okay, so what I have is a piece of fabric here, and I folded it into two, as you can see. Right, so I'm going to bring in the back. This is the back, and I'm just going to, just like if you are cutting a normal regular facing, just place the back part. This facing is just for the back, so just place the back part as you can see me doing, and then cut out. Okay, just trace what you have at the back. So this is what we have. All right, so the next thing we are going to do now is to prepare the bottom placket after we are done cutting. Now this is the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the other side, the wrong side of the fabric as well, because this is on two. Okay, this is folded into two. So I'm going to place a medium gum stay on the placket side. Okay, this medium gum stay is IS 2 inches. Make sure yours is not more than 2 inches. Okay, so we are going to press. Okay, you are going to interface the placket side. This is to make it thick enough for the buttonhole. Okay, especially when you're working with a lighter fabric. All right, if you're working with a lighter fabric, then this particular procedure is a must for you, because if you do not make it a little more thick, it's going to be very difficult for the buttonhole machine to actually place the buttonhole in place. Okay, so interface it, make it thick. You must not be with medium gum stay, but you have to interface it, especially if you're working with a light fabric. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and interface the other side as well. So after interfacing, this is what we have, right? This is what you have. So I'm going to go ahead and fold in half of an inch. Fold in half of an inch. Like this, okay? Then we are going to fold in again the second time. Okay, now this is what we have. Okay, So I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side. This is a complete button placket. All right, this part is ready. This is what we have. Now this part is going to be a lot thicker than the normal side, as you already know, so that the button is going to be very much easier for us to place the buttonhole when we are ready for that. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side of the placket. Now this is what we have. You can decide to use your hemming gum to hold it in place, so that when you are sewing on your sewing machine, it's going to be a lot easier for you. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my sewing machine now, and I'm going to hold this in place. I'm going to use a straight stitch to hold it in place. All right, so this is what we have. So this is what we have after we are through with joining. Okay, now we are going to join the front and the back. All right, so this is the back, as we already know. This is the back part, and this is the facing. So what I went ahead to do is to use my pressing iron to fold the facing, because of course you know we are going to match on it. Okay, so this is the wrong side of the facing. This is the right of the back. This is the right side, and this is the wrong side. Okay, now we are going to place the front on the back. We are going to place the two of them together, wrong side facing each other. As we already know, this is the wrong side of the front, and this is the wrong side of the back. So you are going to place it like this, wrong sides facing each other, like this. Okay, wrong sides facing each other, as you can see. All right, this is the shoulder. Now you are going to come in with your facing. This is the facing. Now you're going to place the facing, right side of the facing facing the right side of the front. I hope you understand this. The front and the back, wrong side facing each other. Now this is the front. This is the front on top, right? Now you're going to place this back. Place the back, right side of the back facing the right side of the front, which of course is on top of the back. Okay, so now what you are going to go ahead to do now is to join this shoulder with 0.5 inches. Plain. Join the shoulder with 0.5 inches on both sides. 0.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and join, and I'm going to show us what we have after joining. So this is what we have after we are done joining. Can you see? Like I said, I just joined here with 0.5 inches. Now I'm going to turn it to the back. All right, now have you seen what we have? Now we have a very neat shoulder. The shoulder do not have any joining. Okay, the shoulder do not show any joining. There's no sign of joining in the shoulder. That is because this facing has covered the joining. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead to do now is to match on this facing, just to hold it in place. So I'm going to match here, just very tiny, round the neck, the shoulder as well. Then I'm going to hold this facing in place. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my sewing machine now, and I will do just that. So this is what I have after I was done matching. Now this is what it's going to look like. This is what we have. Okay, this is what our shirt is already looking like. Now I'm going to notch our shoulder, because this is where our shoulder is going to be. Okay, this is where our shoulder is going to be, not here. So once you set this, make sure that the armhole is equal. Wherever your clothes folds, wherever the fold starts, that is where your shoulder is going to be. That is where you're going to start fixing the sleeve. Okay, so your sleeve, the notch of your center sleeve, the center the notch of your center cap is going to start here, right? So I'm going to notch here, and I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and fix my sleeve. I'll fix my sleeve, I'll shape, I'll just complete everything, fix sleeve, shape, fold the down part, then we'll start working on the collar. All right, so this is what I have when I was done. Like I said before, I went ahead to fix my sleeve and shape, then also fold the down parts. Okay, so now what is left to do is to fix the color, and I'm going to go ahead and fix the color off camera. So if you don't know how to prepare your color or how to fix it, I already have a video of how to prepare your camera in my channel. I'm going to link down the video in the description box so you can go ahead and check it out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and fix my color, and then I will show us the final look. So guys, this is the finished look. This is what we have after we are done fixing the collar and every other thing. Okay, is this not looking beautiful? So if you're still watching to this level, thank you very much for sticking by. And if you are new to my channel, if you're just coming to my channel for the first time and you're yet to subscribe, please do hit the subscribe button and also turn on your post notification so that you get notified anytime we drop a nice video like this. Okay, so thank you once again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.